Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today we're diving into 7 practical tips for stepfamily success that really highlight how blended families can thrive with the right foundation and effort.
I'm excited to get into this. What a rich conversation this is going to be. So, what's the first tip that really stands out?
Well, the first tip is to set realistic expectations. It's like building a house from scratch, right? You don't expect it all to be completed in just a few days. In a step family, you're not reconstructing what once was, but rather creating something entirely new.
Absolutely, I get that. And it makes sense to remind couples that stepping into a new family dynamic means embracing that new construction mindset, not just trying to recapture the past.
Exactly. And then there's the emphasis on maintaining a solid marriage. Research shows that remarriages can be a roller coaster, with statistics showing over 60% of second marriages failing. So it's crucial for couples to have that strong, stable relationship as the backbone.
Right. Yeah, and that stability really supports the entire step-family ecosystem, doesn't it? It's like if the foundation in a building is shaky, nothing else stands firm.
Spot on. Then comes communication. It's absolutely key. Good communication can make or break the whole blended family dynamic. Couples need to regularly check in and discuss even the sensitive issues head-on, rather than letting things fester.
And I suppose that ties in closely with what Gottman's research advocates, right? Effective listening, using I statements, and really avoiding those infamous 4 horsemen.
Precisely. And it's interesting how the content pointed out that 69% of conflict might be unsolvable. So instead of trying to eliminate all disagreements, the focus is on managing them with empathy and compassion.
Right, because disagreements are part of any relationship, even more so in complex step-family settings. So what about the parenting side of things in these blended families?
That's our third tip, parenting together rather than separately. It acknowledges that loyalty to one's own biological child is natural. But since love and trust with stepchildren develop over time, it's essential to have a united front in discipline and parenting decisions.
Yeah, exactly. But here's a thought. Don't you think it might be tricky sometimes for couples to navigate that balance? What if one partner is more lenient than the other?
That's a fair point. They actually suggest establishing clear roles early on and adjusting as needed to each child's stage, especially during challenging times like adolescence. It's a call for continual adjustment rather than a one-size-fits-all approach.
So it's about being flexible as a unit, kind of like evolving your strategies as the family grows.
Absolutely. And then there's advice on creating your own unique family system. Here, step families are compared to a crock pot meal versus a quick skillet sauté. It's a brilliant analogy. It takes time for all the flavors to meld together, building a unique, strong identity over time.
I love that analogy. It's like you need to let the ingredients blend, even if it takes years sometimes to truly feel like a cohesive unit.
Exactly. And then staying connected to your partner is just as critical. Regular date nights, shared hobbies, and even simple daily check-ins help keep that romantic bond alive.
Yeah, those little consistent actions can really make a big difference. It seems almost like a safety net, keeping that bond strong so the family unit overall is resilient in the face of stress.
Absolutely right. And then we come to practicing patience and understanding. Blending families is a marathon, not a sprint. It's like you really have to commit to the long haul.
Commitment for sure. Sometimes it's like when you win at family game night and get teased about it. You just need to keep the mood light and not let it escalate.
Exactly. A little humor goes a long way. And finally, the last tip, stay the course and don't give up. When challenges arise, remember the reasons you came together. The message is clear. Work through it together because you're on the same team.
That's so essential. It seems that all the tips circle back to building a strong, supportive core between the couple.
Right. Without that, all the efforts in parenting, communication, and creating traditions just might fall apart. Think of it like constructing a building. The couple's bond is the foundation that allows the rest to be structured effectively.
No doubt about it. And what really struck me is the emphasis on shared experiences, like establishing fun family rituals. It reminds me of creating new traditions, such as that weekly pizza night or a special outing that really cements the sense of unity in a step family.
Totally, and those shared moments help bridge the gap between the old and the new, your past individual lives and your future as a blended family.
I do wonder, though, how do couples balance these traditions with honoring their own individual pasts? Like, isn't there sometimes a tension there?
That's a great question. There is definitely a tension, and it requires careful negotiation. The key is open communication, discussing what traditions mean to each partner and forging new ones that incorporate aspects of both past and present.
Right, it's like mixing two different recipes into one superb dish.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes couples might feel overwhelmed by all the changes, but the advice really centers on patience, practicing understanding as each member, stepchild, or partner adjusts to the evolving dynamic.
I really like that, because it's a lot like learning a new language. It takes time and lots of practice, and you sometimes even repeat your phrases a couple of times before they really stick.
That's a neat analogy. Really, it's about persistence and the willingness to learn from every little bump along the way. And sometimes you might even need to take a step back and recalibrate your approach if your partner disagrees with your method.
Yeah, and respectfully challenging each other can actually be a good thing. It shows that you're both invested in finding the best way forward.
Absolutely. And that bit about respectfully challenging ideas is crucial. Even the best laid plans can benefit from a little constructive critique. It's all about viewing challenges as shared hurdles rather than individual failures.
Yep, that's so true. And I think it's also worth mentioning that while these tips are fantastic, they do lean quite a bit on the research of experts like James Bray and the Gottman Institute. That kind of backing really reinforces the validity of these strategies, don't you think?
Definitely. It's not just feel-good advice, but guidance informed by deep research into relationship dynamics. It gives things a robust framework to operate from, a kind of blueprint for future success.
I can see how using those proven methods would help couples navigate the very high stakes of remarriage, where there's that staggering statistic of over 60% failure in second marriages.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to keep focusing on these core strategies: communication, realistic expectations, unity in parenting, and creating a system that works for everyone.
Right on. This conversation really reminds me how every family, especially a step family, is unique, like a handcrafted piece of art that evolves over time.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Each blended family takes time to marinate, and while it might start off a bit disjointed, with care and commitment, it can grow into something incredibly beautiful and strong.
And what's really empowering is seeing that despite the challenges, there's a path to success if couples are willing to invest in their relationship first, the solid core of their marriage, as the seed that feeds the entire family unit.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process, and it demands the kind of commitment that means really seeing each other as teammates. And sometimes it's as if you're not just dodging obstacles, but actively building new avenues for connection along the way.
Yep, very true. So if couples out there are feeling a bit discouraged by the complexities of step-family life, this set of 7 tips is a reassuring roadmap. It really champions the idea that, with effort and understanding, a thriving, loving, blended family is completely attainable.
Absolutely. Remember, it's about staying connected, being patient, nurturing your bond, and most importantly, always working as a team. That's the real secret to turning challenges into stepping stones for success.
Exactly. It's indeed a journey, sometimes messy, sometimes challenging, but always with the potential for reward.
And as we wrap up, let's remind everyone, every great recipe takes time to perfect, and every step family, with its unique blend of ingredients, can end up tasting just right when given the chance.
Right, beautifully said. Thanks for this deep dive into building a successful step family. I think it leaves our listeners with a lot of actionable tools and a hopeful outlook for their own family adventures.